hangs in the balance as a costly court battle continues to rage. And on Wall Street this morning, the stock futures are in the red. The Dow futures down 148 points. More details at srnnews.com.
At Progressive, we understand the bond you have with your boat. It's why people name theirs.
I was pretty hungry and looking at a menu when I named my boat Change Your Tuna. The backup names were Trick or Trout, I Salmonly Swear, and, it gets worse, New Squid on the Block. It wasn't my best day.
Whatever you call your boat, protect it. And start with a quote from Progressive, America's #1 boat insurer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. #1 rating based on boat market share data from ratefilings.com.
My papa says the Messiah isn't real. He's just a story.
So what do you believe? From the Salvation Poem Project comes Light of the World.
This is Jesus.
Yeah! Messiah!
A hand-drawn animated film that will inspire the whole family to see Jesus in a whole new light.
He's the King of all kings!
He's nothing.
He is the light of the world.
Light of the World. Opening in theaters this Friday. Rated P.
Your home for Goodland High School athletics. Fort Hays Tech Northwest Tech Tiger basketball, the Denver Broncos, as well as the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer. You're listening to Goodland's Rocket 102.5, KKCI FM, Goodland Colby, and NWKS radio station.
Convenience just got an upgrade. Farmers State Bank of Oakley is excited to announce the opening of our brand new ATM along Highway 40, right next to Sonic Drive-In. Whether you're grabbing a snack or on the go, you can quickly access your cash without the detour. It's banking made easy, right where you need it. Farmers State Bank of Oakley, member FDIC.
Summer's ending, school's here, and Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland has the trucks to keep you moving. A 2025 Sierra 3500 Pro, $1,000 purchase allowance or 3.9% for 48 months. A 3500 Denali, $2,000 purchase allowance or 3.9%. Or Sierra 1500 over a $6,000 purchase allowance or 0% APR for 36 months. Make this school year the smoothest ride yet. Visit Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas, or shop online anytime at hurlchev.com.
This morning will be cloudy with morning fog, especially dense east of Highway 25. This afternoon, the fog and clouds will lift from west to east with temperatures warming in the low 80s. Got south-southeast wind around 10 miles per hour. Later this afternoon and evening, a round of scattered storms expected to develop along the Palmer Divide in Colorado. Move east into the area along I-70 after 5 p.m. These storms have the potential for large hail up to 2 inches and wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. After 10 p.m. and overnight, a second wave of showers and storms may cross highways 34 and 36 from the north and west. Overnight lows will be in the low 60s. Tomorrow, scattered showers may linger in the morning behind a cold front, breaking the rain through the day, but stays cloudy with highs in the upper 70s around 80. North-northeasterly winds around 10 miles per hour. Then another round of showers and storms expected to come from Colorado towards evening with the potential for some severe weather. This meteorologist Chris Romick in the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
Are pests making your home or business uncomfortable? Call Pestaway in Goodland, Kansas, serving all of Northwest Kansas. They provide top-notch pest control services to keep your space safe and pest-free. From ants to rodents, termites to spiders, our expert team is here to help with effective, safe, and affordable pest control solutions. Don't wait. Call Pestaway today at 785-728-7166 for fast, reliable service. Your home or business deserves the best protection.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
Need a porta potty or septic pumping in Northwest Kansas? Call Topside Portables and Pumping, your local family-owned crew. They've got clean, reliable toilets for weddings, farms, and job sites, plus full septic services, RV waste, fertilizer tanks, and more. Available 24/7, because when nature calls, they answer. Call 785-728-8089. That's 728-8089. Topside Portables and Pumping. Reliable, local, clean.
As kids head back to school, it's the perfect time to get your home and yard ready for fall. At Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Colby and Goodland, they've got you covered. From all-season ultimate fertilizer and building materials to cozy patio heaters and furniture. Fire up family meals with a Traeger grill or Blackstone griddle and give your home a new look with Benjamin Moore paints. Whatever your project, big or small, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware is here to help. That's Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby. Your community, your projects, your ace. Summer's ending, school's here, and Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland has the trucks to keep you moving. A 2025 Sierra 3500 Pro, $1,000 purchase allowance or 3.9% for 48 months. A 3500 Denali, $2,000 purchase allowance or 3.9%. Or Sierra 1500 over a $6,000 purchase allowance or 0% APR for 36 months. Make this school year the smoothest ride yet. Visit Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas, or shop online anytime at hurlchev.com.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The insurance agency. Insurance the way it should be.
Hi, this is Tori Jones, senior golfer at Goodland Senior High School. Fall sports and activities are underway with the full slate of action planned to take place here in Goodland soon. Cross Country will host a home meet at Sugar Hills on September 2nd, followed by our first varsity volleyball and football action versus Ray on the 5th. Girls golf and tennis will be at home the week after. Stay up to date with the latest game times with Cowboy information, which can be found on our website.
You ready? One, 2, 3, 4!
It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
I am old and I am white, and I do not understand it in any way, shape, or form.
The High Plains only local sports talk show.
Not this again. Yes, this again.
Broadcasting live on Rocket 102.5 and streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Who's got it better than us? Nobody!
Covering it all from the preps.
It's an air ball in the Colby Eagles, victorious in Hugoton.
To the pros.
The cheer is hit to left. It's deep, going back. Gurriel. It's gone. He has done it again. His second home run tonight. And the Rockies have come back to take the lead.
The Blitz is presented by Hurl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank. Along with the insurance agency, the Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work. There'll be a chance for a return here. It's Cameron Petaway coming up the field. Oh, you gotta be kidding me! For the second straight season, Bowling Green has started the season with a kickoff return for a touchdown. That one's drilled deep to right field. He has done it. 4 home runs in a game. A 3-run home run.
Play fake now after the snap. Rifles it right seam in stride. Grimes has it 5. Touchdown.
Sorsby leans in, takes the snap, back pedals the throw. Blitz picked up. Ayers went out deep right sideline. 50-50 ball. It's picked off. The black shirts with the dagger. Malcolm Hartzog with a giant pick sails the night for the Big Red.
And good Friday morning, everybody. Welcome inside the Morning Blitz. Broadcasting Goodland's Rocket 1025, NWKSradio.net, the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. Thank you so much for tuning in on this August the 29th. It's been a typical start to the morning, overcast and cool, 64, but looks like warmer temperatures are on the way today. Temperatures expected to get to around 80 today here on the High Plains. And looking ahead to your Labor Day weekend, temps going to stick around the 80s and mid-70s. So maybe not the end of summer weather that maybe you were looking for as we get this week rolling. But yeah, I should say as we get this week to an end, kind of get to the weekend is how I should really put that. But nonetheless, should be a nice weekend, should see some sunshine, but not overly warm temperatures. So, if you're just going to be around, doing something, could be fun. If you're wanting to go boating or something like that, it may not be the perfect weather for it, but it might be all right. We'll see. But anyway, glad you're with us here on this Friday show. We got a lot to get to in today's program. We're going to be looking ahead to the weekend slate. There is a lot to get to. There's a lot going on this weekend, not only in, with college football week number 1, but baseball and the regular season continue to wrap up in MLB. It's a busy weekend of local sports. You've got high school football jamborees going on here tonight. Like, for example, Colby and Goodland are going to Norton to compete in that. You have lots of, St. Francis going to Waukene. So yeah, lots of teams getting their football jamborees in today. Lots of some high school volleyball, this action going on here today and tomorrow. So we got plenty of things to get to. We'll talk about that in the weekend slate coming up in segment 3. We'll be joined by Colby High School head football coach Ryan Mosier. He will join us coming up a little bit later on in the program to talk about the 2025 Colby Eagle football team and what he expects to see out of his Eagles. Once again, they were another team similar to, a Goodland or other teams that we've talked about a lot on this program. They had a lot of graduations, lost a lot of key players from last year's team due to graduation. So like a lot of schools, kind of, let's not say starting over, but definitely a different starting point than they were in previous years. So we'll get to that coming up in just a little bit with Ryan Mosier. And then we will get to our first edition here in 2025 of the College Football Power 5 Week 1 edition. I'll give you my top 5 games I have my eye on this weekend in the college football season. I know there were some games played last night. In fact, a pretty good handful of games. I don't know what they're about 10 games last night in college football, it looked like. And some entertaining games, some nail biters. Actually, there were way more than 10. There's probably 15 games last night. I beg your pardon. But there were some nail biters, for sure. I was watching, I was just kind of tracking some of these games, like the first game for Scott Frost back at Central Florida needed a late touchdown to win that one, 17-10. Low scoring affair with Wyoming up at Akron, pulling that one out 10-0. There were some tight games through. I think it was Rutgers holding off Ohio to win by 3, 34-31. That was a crazy game. Wisconsin did not look great against Miami of Ohio, but wins in a shutout fashion, 17-0. Some other interesting scores from last night as well, from around the nation, including over in Kansas City at a packed Arrowhead Stadium full of Husker fans. It was the thing that people probably turned on the game that did not know this. Yes, last night, but when they tuned into ESPN and they saw that Nebraska was playing Cincinnati and they saw and heard the crowd, they probably thought, oh, this is just a neutral site game that was close for Nebraska. And to an extent it was. But that game was originally scheduled to be a Cincinnati home game, and then they were going to play that at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. That was the original plan a few years ago. But they came to the realization that I don't know if we're going to draw a lot of fans for that, and it could be kind of a semi-empty stadium. I mean, Nebraska could bring, maybe 15 to 20,000 fans to Indianapolis, and Cincinnati might bring another 10 to 15,000. That's not going to be enough to fill that stadium. And so they were like, what are we going to do? Cincinnati made the decision. It was their home game to move it to Kansas City, where Nebraska would bring 90 to 95%. And it was even more than that last night. I mean, they were saying it was 99% Nebraska fans there in Cincinnati, at Arrowhead last night. And a majority of that money is going back to Cincinnati, which is good for their NIL, good for their athletic department. That's fine. But if you tuned in, you thought, well, this is just a Nebraska home game, which it was, but Nebraska wore the road uniforms because they were scheduled to be the road team in that schedule. So unique. But Nebraska pulls it out. If you didn't want to stay up late like yours truly did, it was a nail biter, as it usually is for Nebraska football anymore these days. They pull it out. They get a late interception in the last minute of Brendan Sorsby to seal the win. It looked like as if Cincinnati was going to go down. They had a chance. They could have kicked a field goal and tied it if they would have held on to the ball. But a turnover, they went for a shot for the end zone. Nebraska intercepts it and steals one there at the end against Cincinnati. Real quickly, just some thoughts on that for my Husker fans out there. I know they are listening. Because as Jared, you're on my turd list, buddy. I saw your Facebook profile with your Cincinnati change. So I'm just saying you're on my turd list. So, I don't want to talk to you really today. You're on my turd list. So, I'm just saying you're on my turd list. So, I'm just saying you're on my turd list. So, I'm just saying you're on my turd list. So, I'm just saying you're on my turd list. So, I'm just saying you're on my turd list. So, I don't want to talk to you really today. You couldn't name a Cincinnati player if you tried that's playing right now before the game, before you put that on your Facebook profile. But nonetheless, Jared, and the rest, a couple things stood out to me about this game from the Nebraska perspective. Yes, they were able. Do you know the Godfather's real name? How about that, Jared, since you put the Godfather? But anyway, they were that game last night from Nebraska's perspective. There were there was a lot of positives, a lot of negatives, as you usually would have in every single game. I'll start with the bad news first, because I always like to end on a high note. But I think the bad news is that for Nebraska, there is a concern that defensively, I don't know if they have big enough bodies or experienced enough bodies, at least early on in the season, to handle on the defensive line. They talk about how these guys are very athletic, and they are, but they kind of get pushed around by bigger linemen. That's a problem for the Big Ten. That would be a big concern if I was Matt Rule. And I think Matt Rule, most of the preseason, have been trying to kind of hype them up, saying they're going to be hell on wheels. They're going to be this, they're going to be that. And maybe they will be. But at least last night, they just looked to get pushed around a lot. Cincinnati ran the ball, I thought, highly effectively. I was going to pull up the team stats. I mean, a lot of those were scramble yards for Brendan Sorsby. But yeah, Cincinnati ran for 202 yards. Ran for 202. They had 7 yards per carry. Now, a lot of that, once again, was their quarterback, Brendan Sorsby, who did run for, 96 yards on 13 carries. He had a couple of long scrambles, but there were some tough yards that Cincinnati running backs got. And so I think that's my biggest concern for Nebraska is that they really did not, they really could not stop the running game. And that's going to be a problem in the Big Ten. So that was one thing that stood out to me last night. Their pass defense was great. I mean, Sorsby had 69 yards passing. You don't usually ever see that. But he had an interception. On the other thing that concerned me about Nebraska, they didn't finish drives last night. Particularly that one in the first half. They had the ball down inside the 5 after the turnover, and was it after the turnover? It was in the first half. I remember that, but had the ball down inside the 5, false start, end up getting a field goal, not a touchdown. You got to start those have to become touchdowns. I have a feeling you're going to have to score as many touchdowns as you can this year, because the defense is going to bend a lot, maybe break some. That was just my initial thoughts on the bad of that. On the good side, you're +2 in turnover margin after week 1. That's something I don't know if I could say Nebraska's done a lot of. They had 2 turnovers forced by the defense. That was great. And you had none by the offense, even though they fumbled the ball, put the ball on the turf a lot, it seemed like. But they all rolled out of bounds and one of them was recovered by the quarterback, but didn't lose any fumbles. I think there were a total of 2 fumbles from Nebraska, but didn't lose any of them, but they forced 2 turnovers. That was really a bright spot. I thought Dylan Royal looked really good throwing the football. I mean, he went 33 of 42 with 2 touchdowns, no picks. He looked good. I was really impressed with Emmett Johnson running the ball. He was very strong with it. And the offensive line, I thought, got pretty decent push for the most part. Another minor concern, Nebraska doesn't have a whole lot of backup running backs. They need to develop some guys to help back up Emmett Johnson. There's no way he can tote the rock that many times throughout the course of his season and be standing even halfway through it. So they've got to find a way to get a few more able bodies in the backfield to run the ball. But yeah, those are my biggest takeaways. And the biggest one is a win is a win. I was texting with some family members saying, well, that was a lot closer than I was hoping it'd be. Yeah, me too. But a win is a win. You'll take a victory any way you can get it. And here's the thing. We just don't know. We just don't know when a season starts, and it applies to every team. We just don't know who's going to be good, who's going to be bad. Nebraska could be a really bad team. They could be a 6-win team this year. They could be worse than that. They could be a great team. We don't really know. We know a little bit more, but we don't know everything. Cincinnati, same thing. They could be a bad team this year, but they could be a good team. That's a team that beat Arizona State last year, who won the Big 12. We just don't know. And that applies to every single game. We learn more and more each and every time that we watch some football or get to see some. But I'll take the win last night for myself, for my Nebraska Cornhuskers, and I'm sure other fans will as well. Let's get to, okay, with that being said, enough of that time. Let's get to the College Football Power 5. So for those who haven't listened in a while, the College Football Power 5, it's my top 5 games I got my eye on here this weekend. And let's see. Let's get rolling with the college football Power 5. All right, week 1, pretty darn good schedule, I would say, for the most part. Pretty darn tasty one when looking at all these things. So let's get rolling with the college football Power 5. I'm going to start with an honorable mention game right out of the gate, and that's actually tonight. Georgia Tech at Colorado is in my honorable mention list for the college football Power 5. I'm very intrigued. I really, really am. I am super intrigued to see what this offense looks like. What does this team look like for Colorado? Post Shedeur Sanders, Shiloh Sanders, post Travis Hunter, post all these guys that Coach Prime brought in that are considered his kids' family. What does it look like now? I'm super fascinated to see that tonight, and against a Georgia Tech team that is going to run the football right at Colorado. How do they stand up against that? I'm very intrigued. I think Georgia Tech is a 4.5-point favorite at this point in time going into tonight. I want to see, does Colorado stand up against that type of power run game? Can they put up the points that they have in the past offensively? A lot of those questions I hope to get answered later on tonight. That game on ESPN. All right, moving on.
The Power 5. Number 5.
Into the top 5. I'm going on the West Coast here for my first game of the College Football Power 5. It's going to be a late one on Saturday night on Fox. But you've got a former Pac-12 conference game. Utah on the road at UCLA. And the storyline in this game that has me intrigued is the 2 quarterbacks. Devin Dampier, the transfer from New Mexico, playing for Utah, and UCLA, and Nico Amalibiaba, who was at Tennessee last year in the CFP, but decided to leave because he didn't get enough money, now at UCLA, where he's not making even the same amount of money, I don't believe. So this game intrigues me from that perspective. I want to see what these 2 quarterbacks look like in their new homes. Do they have success? Or do they not? I think Utah could be a great team this year if everything comes together for Devin Dampier, because they're going to have a good defense. They're going to have a great offensive line. That sets up a lot of success for your quarterback. If he can make the plays, I think he can do that. UCLA, like I said, I don't know what to expect of them, but I know Nico is a very skilled quarterback, a very talented quarterback, and that should result in some sort of success, I would think, for UCLA. But they do have a lot of question marks surrounding the rest of the program there. So UCLA hosting Utah is my college football Power 5, number 5 game.
The Power 5, number 4.
Number 4, going to move into the late game. I think it's on Saturday night again. I want to double check this. Miami and nope, sorry, this is Sunday. I beg their pardon. This is Sunday. My Notre Dame at Miami. This game probably could be higher. It's a top 10 ranked matchup. I think Notre Dame's probably, maybe minorly, a little bit overrated at this point in time. We'll see. That's the part. We just don't know. Miami could be overrated as well. There's a lot of people saying that they could be the top 10 team that finishes unranked this year. And there's always been a top 10 team that does that in the last, I don't know how many handful of years. Both teams have new quarterbacks, but Miami has Carson Beck, who was a starter at Georgia, now making a lot more money there in Miami. But Notre Dame's got a new quarterback, and this Carr kid, we'll see how great he is. They do have a great running back, and they do have a great offensive line, which should mean they should rely a lot on running the ball and having success there. Lots of question marks in this game. A lot of that should get answered in this one. In my college football Power 5, number 4 game, Miami hosting Notre Dame. All right, moving on to
the Power 5, number 3.
In the top 3, I am going to the battle for the title of Death Valley. Is that what we're going to call this game? I kind of feel like that's how it should be named to an extent, as you have on Saturday evening, Clemson and LSU playing in Clemson, South Carolina. Both of these teams consider themselves playing in Death Valley. Which one will it be? Clemson is a very good team. There are a lot of experts out there that say this is a team that is going to be picked to win a national championship. There are experts that think that, and they're kind of an old school team. They've built a lot of guys up through recruiting and keeping them there. They've brought in a few portal guys, not very many, but then they have a quarterback in Cade Klubnik who has had success and is still there. They should be good. And LSU, of course, usually has some of the more talented teams in all of college football each and every year. The question is, can Brian Kelly get it to all come together? And there's a lot of people that think that if they do, they could have a national title type season led by quarterback Garrett Nussmeier, who's one of the more talented quarterbacks in the game. This game is really spicy. You've got great quarterback play, great athletes on the field. It should be a doozy. LSU and Clemson, number 3 in my college football Power 5.
The Power 5, number 2.
Number 2 here on the college football Power 5. I'm going to go to Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee, where you have Alabama and Florida State. The reason why this game edges Clemson LSU for me, I think, has just been the offseason chatter. Florida State, who, remember, 2 years ago, kind of got snubbed. They were unbeaten, but didn't make the college football playoff. Then got blasted in the bowl game. Turned around, had a 2-win season last year. It's been a roller coaster. Alabama, of course, has been this power, and last year had a down year by their standards, going 9-3. Well, now both these teams are facing off there in Florida State, where their stadium has been redone. They'll be at full capacity. Florida State's got a new quarterback in Tommy Castellanos, who was at Boston College last year, and he's been talking all kinds of trash, saying Florida State's going to take care of Alabama, all this stuff. Alabama's just been quietly just working away. I got to see how this looks, because I gut feeling says it's not going to look good for Florida State. That's just my gut feeling on it. And believe it or not, Florida State is a 2-touchdown dog at home to Alabama. But something about, I just got to see, does Tommy Castellanos back it up, or does he get absolutely crushed? Does Ryan Grubb, the new OC, who's been a great friend of Kalen DeBoer, head coach for Alabama, does him coming back spark that offense with Ty Simpson? A lot of preseason love for Ty Simpson. I would think that they're going to have a pretty good reuniting and a pretty good showing here in 2025. So I'm very intrigued to see offensively what Alabama looks like, and then does Florida State, do they have any answer for Alabama on both sides of the ball? So people think Alabama is a national championship caliber type team, and they might just be. So there you go. That's number 2 on the college football Power 5. And
the Power 5, number 1.
Top game I got my eye on this weekend in the college football Power 5. It's obvious. It's Texas at Ohio State. You've got great storylines all around. You know, you've got a possible future college football playoff game, maybe even a possible future national title game. Both these teams have the pieces to get there. You both have 2 quarterbacks that are starting their first real collegiate action. Julian Sayin for Ohio State, and of course Arch Manning at Texas. Does his, he's a part of the royal family of football. Does he continue to, does he showcase that he is that kind of player? It's a very tough test and a tough place to play, although it's Ohio State at noon. It's a big noon kickoff, and Ohio State fans are kind of sleepy in that noon kickoff time. They don't really like it, but I'm guessing they'll be up for Texas. All the eyes of the country are going to be on that game. I am highly entertained by it. I want to see, what do these teams have? There's question marks. We don't know what they look like. It's a new year. There's new pieces in certain spots, particularly, like I said, the quarterback spot. So Texas at Ohio State, no doubt, is the number 1 game this weekend in all of college football. There are some really, really good ones. So once again, recapping it here on the College Football Power 5, you've got Georgia Tech at Colorado. Sorry, that's Georgia Tech at Colorado. That's my honorable mention game. Number 5, Utah at UCLA. Number 3, Notre Dame at Miami. Number 2, sorry, I'm screwing this up here. 5 is Utah at UCLA. Number 4 is Notre Dame at Miami. Number 3 will be Clemson hosting LSU. Number 2 is Alabama at Florida State. And number 1, Texas at Ohio State. It's a great slate of college football here in week number 1. Really looking forward to seeing what these teams have to offer and what we learn in week 1 of the college football season. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back. When we return, Ryan Mosier, Colby High School head football coach, joins us to talk about his Eagles squad ahead of the 2025 season. They got a jamboree tonight in Norton, and then they'll open the season a week from tonight. We'll get his thoughts on all that next. You're listening to a Friday edition of the Morning Blitz.
Summer's ending, school's here, and Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland has the trucks to keep you moving. A 2025 Sierra 3500 Pro, $1,000 purchase allowance or 3.9% for 48 months. A 3500 Denali, $2,000 purchase allowance or 3.9%. Or Sierra 1500 over a $6,000 purchase allowance or 0% APR for 36 months. Make this school year the smoothest ride yet. Visit Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas, or shop online anytime at hurlchev.com.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The insurance agency. Insurance the way it should be.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning. This is Tyler Ghosh with the Andersons in Overland Park, Kansas with your morning market update. It is Friday, August 29th. Overnight sessions have commodity sets open mixed. September corn is up 2 3/4 at $3.88 1/4. The beef is up 2 cents at $4.12, and the March is up 1 3/4 at $4.29 1/4. Beans on the SEP are down 4 1/4 at $10.24. The Nova is down 3 1/4 at $10.44 3/4. The Jan is down 3 cents at $10.63 3/4. Kansas City wheat on the SEP is down 1 1/4 at $4.85 1/2. The Beef is down a penny at $5.14 3/4, and the March is down 1/2 cent at $5.35 1/2. Chicago wheat on the SEP is up 1/2 cent at $5.10 3/4. The Beef is down 3/4 cent at $5.28 1/4. And the March is up 1/4 cent at $5.46 1/4. S&P 500 is down 17 points at 6,500. The Dow is down 107 points at 45,599. Nasdaq down 107 points at 23,661. Crude oil is down 7 cents a barrel at $64.53. Gold is up 90 cents an ounce at $3,475, and silver is down 13 cents an ounce at $39.58. If you have any cash grain you'd like to move or want to learn more about our freedom pricing tools, reach out and give us a call. You can reach myself, Tyler Ghosh, Shared Law, or Tom Coluto at 913-748-3000. If you're out in Colorado, give John Haney or John Stiles a call at 970-744-4484.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, and cleaner American.
Visit HaydenOutdoors.com to learn more. That's HaydenOutdoors.com.
It's the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
Hey everyone, come and see how good I look.
Your daily dose of sports.
Whipping along on a Friday, August the 29th, last Friday of August, and the last Friday that's empty before we have high school football. Jamborees, I guess, if you want to count that as tonight, obviously, but, you know, real games kick off here starting a week from today. With that in mind, we continue to whip around the area and talk some high school football with some of our area coaches, and we're pleased to be joined on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware hotline by our good friend Colby High School head football coach Ryan Mosier, who joins us. Good morning, Coach. I got to ask first and foremost, my fellow Husker fan, did you stay up last night and catch that, or did you have to fall asleep or get to bed?
Oh, I stayed up and watched. Got a little bit of past trauma showing up towards the end there, so But I stayed up and watched her.
Now, did you keep your emotions in check as best as you could, or like you said, those emotions got the best of you there late?
No, I kept them in check, but it was touch and go there for a little bit. So.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm telling you, that was dicey, but tell you, our hearts are apparently I bet this football team has probably taken about 5 years off of our lives over the course of the last 5 years or so, wouldn't you say?
I would say so.
Oh man, Ryan Mosier is our guest here on the Morning Blitz, joining us on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. Coach, I want to dive in first and foremost to the off season for you and your crew. When you look back at it, totality, I know we had John throughout the summer, but when you look back at this summer, how successful was it? The combination of getting kids in the weight room and building that conditioning, as well as, going to camps. I know you went up to Hastings and did some camp time and some other things throughout the summer, maybe getting together and throwing the ball around, some 7-on-7 type stuff.
Yeah, I tell you what, I really feel like we had a good summer, and that momentum kind of led us into camp. And so it's been a really smooth process so far. Our numbers in the summer were a touch lower, but I think our roster numbers a touch lower. And so percentage wise, we were pretty good. And I'm just excited to get these kids out on a field and quit playing each other and see what we got.
Every year, as I've said before, is kind of a new year. How much of it did you and your staff have to kind of go back and kind of go back to the drawing board and say, hey, we've got some new players and some new positions. We've got to move some guys around. We've got these kids coming up. How much did you kind of have to go back to the drawing board in order to put your team in the best position to have success, at least is what you're thinking right now?
Yeah, in high school football, you have to adjust to your personnel. And so we got on the drawing board a little bit. It's not like any of the words changed and things like that, but how we're going to go about it's going to change a little bit. But I think the kids have picked it up really well, and I'm excited to see it.
Have you had to move some guys around? Maybe some guys that started out as running backs or something like that, or tight ends, and got bigger over the course of just the life, and you had to move them onto the line or something like. Did anything like that happen?
So up front, we've had a few kids that grew over summer that I'm excited to see what they have, and mostly skill wise, it's really just going to be different names. We didn't really change a whole lot of positions or anything like that. It's just going to be new faces out there.
I know you're an offensive, defensive lineman yourself. What do you think of the trenches for the Eagles here in 2025?
I'm really excited about it. I've been really happy with the effort so far up front. We're getting really good communication, and now it's just making sure that we continue to keep that going throughout the season. With a younger team, we understand there's going to be mistakes, but it's just how are we going to bounce back and how are we going to handle the whole game?
Ryan Mosier continues to be our guest here, Colby High School head football coach. How much of a focus is put into the fundamentals throughout the course of the year? I would think it's massively a very big part of it due to the fact it is a young team.
Yeah, I would say, every time we're on the field, it comes down to fundamental stuff. And, we really stress it early on in camp. Later towards this week, we started to kind of get ready for the next one and have everything ready for the jamboree as well. So, fundamentals are huge, and that's why we do our indie periods every day and knock that stuff out.
I know that we all know last year and for the last few years, you've had some really good experience, whether it's the quarterback spot or at the wide receiver spot with Casey Giesenhagen and some other names, and those guys. But like you said, there's going to be some new faces, some new guys that are going to be playing the skill position spots. How do you feel like they have developed here over the course of the summer and now into these first few weeks of fall camp?
I feel like they've developed well. So Talon Mork and Cody Wright got a lot of time last year in the skill positions. And, their roles are just going to increase for them. But, on the outsides, Jayden Rush and Sean Wadersky have been really good at our Z spots, and Nathan Cates and Cade Youngman out at our X. So they saw a little time last year. All these guys did, but they're going to see quite a bit more this year.
Yeah, how big of a jump do you think they have made from just this year to last year early on due to the fact that they're getting more reps in practice and things of that sort?
They've made a big jump. I think the biggest jump they've had is just their body. They really focused over the summer on putting on some weight and staying athletic, and I really think it's going to pay out for them. But I would say the biggest jump is the physical side. Mentally, they kind of had everything down, and with it being year 3 now, everybody kind of knows the systems and stuff. So I think it'll be a good thing.
I have to ask, is Cody Wright still the walking human muscle?
Yes, he still is. Looks like a G.I. Joe, man. But listen, that the G.I. Joe grew over the summer, so we're really excited to see what he's up to.
I'm not going to lie. G.I. Joe, man, Cody Wright, I'm surprised he doesn't find his way down to the line or something like that, being that big and that strong. He must not know how to play low or something like that.
Well, listen, he had 2 numbers at the start. That's what everybody forgets is he did play guard.
That's true. He
2
did
years ago.
So why is he not playing guard now? The guy's he's a massive man. He's G.I. Joe.
I think once you see a ball in his hand, you'll understand.
Oh, he looks like G.I. Joe, but runs like a freak. Okay.
Yep.
He's one of the more intriguing prospects, is Cody Wright for sure. Ryan Mosier to be our guest here, Colby High School head football coach. When you look at these these last week or 10 days or so of when you got into fall camp, what was kind of the focus early on, and what improvements have you seen here in these last 10 days as the fall camp really got going?
I think the main focus was just attention to detail and effort is really what we were after. Those are the things that they have to do themselves, and we challenged them to do so. And I feel like we've gotten a really good response there. So I think that's probably the best part.
How ready do you feel are the guys for tonight to get to the Jamboree, particularly in the thought of we finally get to hit somebody else other than ourselves?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. That's why the Jamboree is a good thing, is we're tired of beating each other up. And you go to the Jamboree and you run a bunch of base stuff and you put some reps on film and just kind of see where we're at when we play first string and where we're at JV wise too. So I'm really excited to get it going.
How do you guys go about handling the early part of the season physicality wise, tackling, working on the physical parts of the game while also trying to keep everybody healthy for the start of the season?
Yeah, there's a fine line that you got to find a balance anyway, is what I'm trying to say. So, I felt like we've had a good balance this year. We did get a little more physical than we have in the past, just because that's going to be a focus this year. We have to continue to get more physical, especially with the back half of our schedule.
We talked a lot about the offense. Ryan Mosier, our guest here on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. But defensively, what do you feel like, particularly maybe in the second and third levels? What do you think of your defense?
Yeah, I'm really excited about them. We've got guys that have a lot of football IQ, and they've sat behind that senior class that graduated, and it's their time to go. But I've been really happy with our coverage so far. They've given me fits a few more times than we have in the past, so we'll see what that shakes out to be.
What are you personally and your staff hoping to learn here at the Jamboree?
I think we've got some position battles. We're trying to figure out who's going to be better at what, and what's it look like against another team's varsity. Right now you're up against a scout, and that's really all you can see. So we're excited to get in front of some other ones and get after it.
You've been doing this a while now. How much have you learned, like when you get done with the Jamboree and it's like, well, it was worse than I thought, it was better than I thought, or do you just try to take it all with a grain of salt?
Oh, I think there's a little bit of everything there. Sometimes you go to a Jamboree and you'll figure out that there's a lot of changes that need to be made, and it's good because it exposes you to what you need to get better at. But also at the same time, it is a scrimmage, and you don't have a lot of scouting or any of that. So, I don't know, man.
Ryan Mosier, our guest here, Colby High School head football coach, joining us here on the Morning Blitz on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. A couple more for you here, and I'll let you go. You look at the schedule. To an extent, this is a schedule that could be, to an extent, maybe a little bit challenging, but at the same time, also some toss-up games. What are your thoughts on this schedule here this year in 2025?
We have to be ready to go every week. We'll start the season with 2 new head coaches. And so, it's all different schemes and stuff. And so it's figuring out what they're going to run. First off, but every week it's a challenge, and you can't take any weeks off with the schedule that we have. It's a good thing though, because if you can make it through the grind of our schedule that we play, we'll be ready to go in the postseason.
You also got to like being home 3 out of the first 4 weeks. Not a lot of big time bus rides. That's good.
Yep, this is an interesting cycle. JV does a lot of travel, so they go to Ulysses and to Hugoton, so they're making some trips.
They fuel up the bus, boys, and get comfortable. We're going to be on the road for a while. I'll get you out of here on this, Coach. What are you hoping to see, or what are kind of some early season goals for the first half of the season?
I want to see good execution, and I want to see us just have a competitive mindset out on the field, not letting things get to us, not having bad days, just moving on to the next play. So that's really what I'm looking for, is just some execution and how are we going to handle ourselves on the field.
Well, we look forward to seeing how the Colby Eagles get this season kicked off here. Well, we'll start the season coming up a week from today, hosting the Ulysses Tigers. Head coach of the Colby Eagles, Ryan Mosier. Coach, thank you so much for the time, and thank you so much for a great laugh yesterday on your hot take for Nebraska. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I still stand by it. All right.
Thanks, buddy. Have a great day. We'll catch up soon. Once again, great stuff there from Ryan Mosier. That is fantastic. He had quite the hot take for Nebraska football here in the 2025 season. He stands by it, he says. We'll see. It certainly is interesting. All right, we will get to a break. When we come back, we will get to our final segment, the weekend slate. What's ahead for Kansas State? Also in other sports as well, the local sports, with some volleyball getting going today. And we will also get to some picks of the weekend, a few picks of the weekend. That is next here on a Friday edition of the Morning Blitz.
Grab your clubs and join us for the Goodland Regional Medical Center Foundation Slice of Life Golf Tournament, Saturday.
We may be Kansas-based, but you still get coverage nationwide. So, go out and explore knowing that we have you covered. And for a limited time, get the Google Pixel 9 Pro or Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus and a Google Pixel Watch 3 on us. Next Tech Wireless, connecting Kansans.
Craving something delicious? McDonald's has you covered. From hot, fresh breakfast to juicy burgers and crispy fries, there's something for everyone, any time of day. And don't forget to try our classic McCafe coffee or refreshing McFlurry. Visit us in Colby, Goodland, Burlington, and Lamar for fast, friendly service and the flavors you love. Drive through, dine in, or order ahead on the McDonald's app. We'll have it fresh and ready. McDonald's. I'm loving it.
Hi, Grandpa. This is Jane.
The unread messages.
Emergency.
I need $2,000.
Each year, more than 3.5 million older adults are victims of financial exploitation in the U.S. Many are afraid to report it, but taking action prevents additional victims. Here's what you can do. Stop. Don't interact with the scammers. Verify the source with a trusted person and report it right away if you think you've been scammed. Remember, stop, verify, report.
Sponsored by Kansas DCF and KDADS and aired in cooperation with the Kansas Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Grab your clubs and join us for the Goodland Regional Medical Center Foundation Slice of Life Golf Tournament, Saturday, September 20th at Sugar Hills in Goodland. It's a 3-person scramble with a 9 a.m. shotgun start and just $100 per golfer. That includes green fees, lunch, and hors d'oeuvres. Enjoy unlimited mulligans, awesome whole prizes, a margarita tent, and big ticket raffle items, all while supporting GRMC's oncology and specialty care services. Sign up or sponsor now by going to goodlandregional.com. It's the 2025 Goodland Regional Medical Center Foundation Slice of Life Golf Tournament. Golf with purpose.
Want to be part of the Morning Blitz?
Sometime I'll give you a piece of my mind, like right now.
Send your thoughts to the F&B Bank text line at 785-899-2222.
Thanks again to head coach Ryan Mosier. Always love visiting with him. He's become a good friend of mine. You know, our Nebraska connection. You know, he was on this when I was in high school and we won a state championship in football. He was on the sideline of the opposite team as a water boy. He actually winning a state title himself when he was in high school at Sargent a couple of years later. So always have that unique connection, being on the same field. We didn't even know each other, but now we do out here in Western Kansas. So. Always enjoyed it. I loved it. I wish I could tell you his tinfoil hat theory on Nebraska football this year. I wish I could, but it's really funny. So I appreciate he gives me a good laugh whenever he talks about that tinfoil hat prediction. But anyway, we got plenty more to finish up here on the Morning Blitz. I got to get to a couple of comments. I had a texter chime in who was agreeing with me on Nebraska football, saying that his biggest concern is the defensive line. I would agree as well. That is a big concern based upon last night's game. We're going to get to picks here in just a little bit, and we already have a pick on our Facebook page for the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. Drew chimes in and says he's got a bold pick. He's got North Dakota State to cover against Kansas State. Well, Drew, I don't mean to pick on anybody, but they play North Dakota, not North Dakota State. They play the Fighting Hawks, not the Bison. So if you still think North Dakota is going to cover against Kansas State, great. But the Bison and the Wildcats don't play. That would certainly be a different meeting for sure. But it's actually North Dakota and K-State this weekend at this point in time. So we will get to that here in just a matter of seconds, as a matter of fact. More thoughts on that game there. I do want to get to the local slate. We talked about football jamborees happening all around the area. There's tons of jamborees that are happening. Depending on just where schools are, which is it's a great thing, particularly for the team. You get to go play against somebody else, get some film against somebody else. You get to learn about yourself, which is great. It's all wonderful. Just hopefully everyone goes in and stays healthy and then is ready to go for week one here a week from today. Plenty of volleyball today, too. Lots of high school volleyball action this evening. You've got Decatur Community hosting a triangular with Wheatland, Grinnell, and Hoxie, St. Francis has a try today with Shiloh and Northern Valley. Oakley hosting a triangular with Wallace County and Scott City. Golden Plains and Weston volleyball teams down in Western Plains for a quad. Also, there is Moscow, so some high school volleyball. And then Saturday, Colby volleyball and Shelby Mosier, also a friend of the program and wife to Ryan. Her and her squad, they're up at the Norton volleyball tournament on Saturday. So Colby volleyball getting their season away this weekend. And, of course, we cannot forget about Colby Community College volleyball. The third-ranked Lady Trojans, unbeaten 4-0, have yet to drop a set. They are at the Laramie County Community College tournament today where they have a big-time matchup with Northeastern. That is a top 10 ranked-on-ranked matchup. And they have Laramie County today as well. So a doubleheader today and then 2 more games tomorrow on Saturday as they take on Central Arizona and Casper College. So best of luck to Coach Jones and CCC volleyball as they look to remain unbeaten on a very, very young season. Baseball last night, the Rockies let another one slip away in Houston. They lost 4-3. Big night for former Diamondback, now Astro Christian Walker, homered twice, including a go-ahead shot in the 8th. Colorado hung tough. Ezequiel Tovar and Yanquiel Fernandez had a couple of homers to tie the game, but when it was all said and done, Colorado left 10 guys on base, including the bases loaded in the 7th. They ended up losing that one 4-3. Rockies are now home tonight to host the Cubs at 6:40 Mountain Time on KLOE. I guarantee there'll be more Cubs fans there than Rockies fans. And by a wide margin. You'll see so many Cubby fans. It's ridiculous. But that's what you'll see. And the Royals, after a day off yesterday, they are back home. Big weekend series again against the Detroit Tigers, starting at 6:40 Central Time tonight. Listen on AM 79 to KXXX. It's a humongous series for Kansas City. They went to Detroit, really struggled here this last week. Now they get to come home where they've been really good. I mean, at the K, they have been fantastic. Can they find a way to take a series here, stay in this hunt for a wild card? They're still about 3.5, 4 games out. Got to start winning some of these games, and it'd be huge to do it against your AL Central rival in the Detroit Tigers. So that's a look ahead to baseball this weekend. And then, of course, we've got college football this weekend. I know Michael texted in early in the show. He got it right. He's like, finally, game day, Rock Chalk. He said it yesterday that it was game day, and he was pumped, but he was a little too excited. It's actually Kansas football tonight, hosting Wagner. And I will say this. I don't expect to learn anything from this game from Kansas. I saw enough in the first game to know that I think that Kansas is an improved football team from a season ago. That's what I saw. They're going to probably put a beating. They're going to put a beat down on Wagner. I expect Lance Leipold to run the living daylights out of the ball tonight. I don't expect there to be a whole lot of passing. I expect to be a lot of running. A game that is shortened up by the sort of time by the time. The over-under is 56.5, and KU is favored by 45. So they're expecting pretty much a shutout win for Kansas for the most part. I think they're going to hit the under. 56.5 is not a massive number, but I think they're going to stay under. I just think it's going to be a shortened game by the clock running. I see Lance Leipold. He's a class act. He's not going to go out there and just blow the living daylights out of Wagner unless Wagner just allows them to. I'm going to run the football, maybe get a chance to get some backup guys in. Could see a lot of fellow Cowboy Leighton Cure out there tonight, hopefully earlier on in the game than last week, but for sure later on in the game, if not. I think KU just waxes Wagner tonight, but I still think they are under 56.5. I like a 45-0 victory, something like that. That's what I see. KU, you're not going to learn anything tonight, I think, besides maybe who are the backups and who are some really good players for Kansas behind the starters. That's what you're going to learn tonight. Not much else. Also tonight, of course, we talked about it in the Power 5, Colorado hosting Georgia Tech. Once again, I mentioned it before, so much to learn about Colorado. What is the post-Shadur, Shiloh Sanders, Travis Hunter era look like? I don't know. We're going to learn. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it, I don't know. I do know one thing. Georgia Tech is a physical football team, and they are going to test the physicality of the Buffaloes. Georgia Tech is favored by 4.5. I think they cover. I think they win by a touchdown, maybe 10 points. That's my thought. I think the physicality of Georgia Tech is going to overwhelm Colorado. It's just my gut feeling. And K-State hosts North Dakota. That would be once again, the Fighting Hawks, not the Bison of North Dakota State. They take on North Dakota, UND. This is I'm fascinated to see what Kansas State looks like coming back. How are their bodies? How are their minds? You know, has there any been kind of problems getting back into your normal swing of things? I think it's a wide margin, 25.5 for Kansas State. I just don't know. I don't know anything about North Dakota. I think Kansas State's going to be. I mean, if they take the chains off Avery Johnson and let him run, they get him in space, they let him run. There's no, of course, Dylan Edwards. There we go. There's no Dylan Edwards tonight. So they're going to miss a playmaker, but they've got guys that are going to be better prepared with him not being in the lineup. So I was originally going to say UND covers the 25.5, but I don't know. I don't know what to expect from North Dakota. I'm going to roll. I'm going to stick with what I originally thought. They cover the 24.5. I still think K-State wins by 3 touchdowns. They still win comfortably, just not by almost 4. That's my gut feeling on K-State hosting North Dakota. But catch, of course, KU on Flower Country 97.9 tonight and K-State on 100 Point Through the Ride on Saturday.
And back lifts his ball deep to right. How about a walk-off Gray? Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes swings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
Well, there was some history last night in Major League Baseball. One of my favorite baseball players in the league currently, Kyle Schwarber, with a 4-home run night. He was in a massive slump. Comes into that game last night, smacks 4 homers, has 9 RBIs. It was a crazy night for Kyle Schwarber, busting out of a big-time slump. But 2025 has been the year of the 4-homer games. That is the 3rd time this season that it has happened, that an individual hit 4 home runs in a single game. The previous Diamondback player, now Mariner, Gino Suarez, did it earlier this season. The young man for the Athletics, Nick Kurtz, did it a couple weeks ago against the Astros, and now Kyle Schwarber getting it done for the Phillies. So, very interesting season. It's the year of the 4-home run game. 3 times it's happened this year in MLB, and I think like 15 times since 1900 it's happened. It's ridiculous, but 3 times this year. That'll do it for the program today. Thanks to Ryan Mosier, Colby High School football coach, for joining us. Thanks to you for all tuning in and giving your thoughts and comments on the EpiBank text line of the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. I hope everyone has a great weekend. No show Monday due to Labor Day. We'll be back to get the week going on Tuesday. Hope you'll tune on in as we'll get ramped up for high school football on Friday. But best luck to all the area volleyball competitors and stuff as they get their seasons underway here this weekend. Have a great weekend and a fun weekend. See you back on Tuesday. It's been the Blitz.
Classic rock plays here. This is Rocket 102.5 KKCI.